Hey y'all, it's Bernithia from Everyday Kingdom Living. And really quick, I was doing some reflecting while I was teaching my courses this morning. And I stumbled upon this revelation that God had gave me this morning because I was really confused by the contradictions that my life gives off to people. So it's testimony time. And the title of this testimony is I Was Never Needed, I Was Hidden. If y'all see me looking over here, it's because I actually wrote this down. I wanted to share this as deeply as I could, and I didn't want to leave anything out because it's filled with so much. So for 13 years, from 2011 to 2024, I lived in what most people would consider to be my wilderness season. And it was a season that was full of contradictory, and it confused the way people actually saw me from the outside. So to some people, I looked needy, and to other people, I looked conceited. To some, I looked like I was stable. To others, I looked extremely wealthy. But the funny part was, to all those people, despite how they saw me, I was the same woman, the same woman. But the truth is, I could never quite put this into words, so that's why I had to like write this down because once I spit it out, I wanted to make sure I was saying exactly what I wanted to say. All this time, I was never needing rescue. I never needed anyone to rescue me. When I was a girlfriend to people, they assumed that because I was given affection, that I was vulnerable. It was because I was needy. I was even told that by a friend who looked at my relationships from the outside, and she was like, "Girl, you always just seem clingy and needy." One, it's just my personality. I am a physical touch kind of person. Um, I'm also one that believed in if you really cared about someone, you call them, you text them, you show your care, you show your love, you're there, you're supportive, you're loyal, you know. But that was my vulnerability, and it got taken advantage of at some points in my dating world. And then when I became a wife, um, I was one that always wanted to be a partner, not necessarily provided for. I was always one that knew I had things to bring to the table. So thus it would in hopes that it would enhance the marriage, enhance the relationship, the friendship, the bond. But it also came off as looking needy. It was perceived as some type of weakness. So people that are immature or are spiritually untrained, they might view that as a form of neediness. They might view that vulnerability, you wanting to be there, wanting to support them, as a weakness. It also may be perceived as I can manipulate or control you because you're being so open with me. Let me take advantage of some of these qualities. But the contradiction wasn't inside of me, it was in how people perceived me while I was in my wilderness, which now I know was my hidden season. Because while some people saw what supposedly looked like my struggle, they still came to me for vision, comfort, advice, support, leadership roles, teaching, encouragement, kindness, answers, the light that God put inside of me, strength, skills. People applauded all my gifts, but they did not take the time to understand my posture. They did not take the time to look at my spirit. They thought my single mom seasons meant I was weak. They thought that my inconsistent income meant that I needed saving or rescuing. And they thought because I was soft, it meant that I couldn't stand on my own. But what none of them ever saw, ever understood, was that my source was never from any of them. It was always from God. I was never needy. I was just hidden. And in the wilderness, God will hide his prophets. He will hide his builders. He will hide his vision carriers, his Esthers, until the appointed time. We know this because it's in scripture. And when he hides us, the people that see us, the people that interact with us, the things that we behold dear, it's hidden from people because those people only get to see fragments of us. He hides us so nobody can take credit for what he's about to do. He hides us so that the only the spiritually mature people can discern what's inside of you. He hides us so that the wrong people will fall away. And he hides us even more because the terrain might get too hard for certain people. And that way, those people who aren't meant to walk with you, they'll fall away. He hides us until he reveals us. And that's what he did with me. And on December 31st, 2024, God started unveiling the real me to me, the me that he had already completed a long time ago, long inside of me before other people could see it. Because in that 13 years, he was doing the work in me. He was pouring skills and gifts and talents. He was perfecting things in secret and quiet. And I was like, God, why are you doing all of this in me? But I can't ever just like blow up like a butterfly. But what I've understood is I wasn't delayed. I wasn't denied. I was being stored the same way certain animals store up food for the winter. I was being stored. I was being stored like Joseph. I was being stored for a famine. I was being stored for the winter. I was being stored for a purpose. I was being stored for a destiny. I was being stored for this season right here in 2025. So every skill I picked up, every battle I survived, every gift I developed, every talent that I honed in on, every experience that I walked through, God tucked it all inside of this 5'3" body, this 124-ish pound frame. And I joke about my forehead because it's so big. I was like, God stuffed it with all this wisdom. That's why it's so big, because all this wisdom is in there. But in all seriousness, y'all, I finally understand the vision. I understand it all makes sense now about who I am. I finally understand why I walk through contradictions. I finally understand why some men got confused when they tried to lead or rescue me and it didn't work. And then I finally understand why their spirits had to back away from me when they realized I wasn't who the enemy tricked them into perceiving that I was. Because now I'm no longer hidden. I'm visible. I'm unveiled. I'm walking fully in God and what God called me to be and in who God called me to be. And everything that was stored, delayed, hidden, concealed in the wilderness is all being released. It's all being released all at once. You guys see it. It's on time. It's not late. It's for a purpose. It's for people. It's for legacy. So in this testimony, this is my testimony. This sums it all up. I wasn't needy. I was being refined. I wasn't weak. I was being prepared. And I wasn't lost. I was being hidden. And now God is revealing me for such a time as this. So y'all subscribe. You'll see.